Life Management Science Labs would like to acknowledge that we live and produce this podcast on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people. We'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands of our listeners and our international colleagues. We'd like to pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. Hello everyone, and welcome to Bouncing Back, the Personal Resilience Science Insights podcast produced by LMSL, the Life Management Science Labs. We are champions of life management science, providing structured insights informed by science and inspired by practice on key aspects of conscious living. Each week, we bring you scientific and practical insights on each element with the expert knowledge of professionals in the field. I am your host, Joanna. Let's get started. Hello everyone, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and welcome back to Bouncing Back for a holiday special episode. My name is Joanna and I'll be your host today. So the holiday season has quickly approached, but that doesn't mean we still aren't facing different challenges and roadblocks in life. So it's important we can set ourselves up for all the tasks we have to take on now and in the new year as well. So for today, we will be talking about occupational stress and navigating career frustrations to unleash our purpose. So to help me do this today, I'll be joined by Nina Olofsson. Nina is a certified elite performance master coach, but refers to the title Soul Purpose and Success Coach. She guides ambitious individuals in tapping into their higher purpose and realizing their true self and endless potential. She teaches the foundations of the mind and the principles of creating both success and happiness. Hi, Nina. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Joanna. Thank you so much for having me. What a beautiful introduction.
Course.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's all you and it's all true. So thank you so much for joining us. How is the holiday season treating you so far?
It's good. I love Christmas, but it's actually not been a lovely holiday for me throughout my life, really. It's actually since I started to really appreciate the winter in itself. I live in Sweden, so it's very cold, and I relate Christmas to really, oh, now I can't find the words. Sorry, Joanna.
That's okay.
When the snow melts and then it gets cold. So the snow is like, it's not ice, but it's not snow either.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I don't know the word for that either.
No, I can't find the word. I know I know the word really, but now I can't find it. So you have to
like frosty?
No, I don't know. It's not frosty. I believe perhaps it's even a word that we are using up in Sweden for it. But Christmas and the holidays are really, growing up, I had it really, really tough because I was suffering from a lot of emotional childhood trauma and depression. So the holidays was not a very happy time for me to start off with. So I relate to Christmas from my childhood, as we all do, because all of that imprinting from childhood is creating that paradigm and the belief systems and the behaviors that we have as an adult, right? So the holidays now are just so emotional for me. I have 2 kids on my own now, and I love to decorate the house and make it all warm and cozy, preparing for Christmas and with the Christmas presents and with the candy. And I don't know what kind of traditional candies or foods you have, but here in Sweden, we like to use all different kinds of toffee, and I love baking cake. So oftentimes it's a very stressful time, but that's also part of what I'm helping people with, create that life-work balance. So it's really, really important to stay aware and to stay reflective on what's going on in your life so you can actually do all the things that you have to do, because holidays is also a time for all of those extra things to do, right? So it's not just
Yeah.
staying on point in your career and being a mother and a parent and a friend and a daughter, because we all have all of these roles, right? So it's really, really important to stay in harmony and align with your values and who you are in all areas of life, right? So
Yeah.
today, I really look forward to the holidays. I was not always looking forward to it based upon my past experiences. But today, I like to see it like this. We all create our reality based on past experiences, but you have to, when you become aware that you are the creator of your reality, then you can make it as you like. So I create holidays so that it fills my cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how
And I
I see
feel
the
like
holidays right now.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a great way to see them. And obviously, everyone has a different past with the holidays. I know I never used to be the biggest fan of Christmas. And I feel like the Christmas blues are a real big thing for a lot of people. But more recently, I've started to appreciate it more. I've been listening to Christmas music. I love when my mum decorates the house and it just feels so warm and cozy. And like you said as well, and then all the food, I just love the traditions, and it's a really special time of the year, but also it can be stressful. And that's why I feel like it's good to do things like this where we can talk about it and we can talk about all the other things that might be going on during this time. Like people stress over jobs, they stress over family, so many different things. So it's really important that we do things like this.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Well, I'd love to get to know you a bit more with a section that we've called Have You Met Nina? So we've got a few fun little get to know you questions. And the first one I have for you is, what is your favorite book?
Favorite book is must be, that was a hard one. Oh my God. But A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't. What is that one about?
It's really about the ego and how the human mind works. That's actually the book. I read that book in my 20s, and that book actually helped me to cure myself from my recurring panic attacks and my childhood depression. So that's really a transformational book, I would say. If you haven't heard about Eckhart Tolle, I would highly suggest you Google him and read about his work. And another book, I have to say, Think and Grow Rich. That one you might have heard of, by Napoleon
Sounds
Hill.
familiar. Sounds familiar,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would highly recommend those two. I could talk about books all day long, and all books from Joe Dispenza. Um, so if you're into
Awesome.
self-development and universal laws and all of that beautiful stuff about the mind and how we function as human beings in this universe, then go ahead and Google those authors.
Yeah. Do you find you often gravitate more towards nonfiction books and like those self-help kind of books?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And do you dabble in fiction at all, or is it just like the self help genre that interests you the most?
Um, I have so many different nuances to myself as a person and a human. So when it comes to movies, I would say I love to watch,
Yeah.
like my favorite movie that I watched lately is Avatar, the new Avatar movie.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, The Way of Water. That was touching my heart really. So I'm all into all kinds of things.
Yeah, I love the Avatar movie. I was talking about this with a friend the other day, and I said, even today, even though Avatar came out a while ago. It's still my favorite movie that's come out in like the last couple years. I loved it so much, and it was so touching, and it was a long movie, but it was probably the best 3 hours that I've watched.
Yes, it definitely didn't feel like 3 hours.
No. Yeah, I've watched some 3-hour movies recently, and I've been sitting there just looking at the time being like, when will this be over? But with Avatar, I did not. I was just so invested, and I thought it was so beautifully made.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, lovely. Well, my next one for you is, are you listening to any podcasts at the moment, or do you have a favorite podcast?
I don't have a favorite podcast. I can jump in and listen to an episode here and an episode there. I kind of go on the title of the episode and who's the guest, and but I do listen to Mel Robbins' podcast. You must have heard about Mel Robbins. Maybe
Mel
not.
Robbins? No, I
Mel Robbins.
haven't.
Okay. Yeah, like I said before, I'm all into development and everything about human potential, and Mel Robbins is a big one in that space. And so I would highly recommend Mel Robbins' podcast. She has a lot of high-level professionals on as guests, and it's very much science and studies and professors, and so that's very interesting. But I also like a pod called Miljonpodden. It's a Swedish podcast. So I'm sorry, all you English-speaking people listening. That's also a great one. And A Quest for Well-Being with Valeria. That's highly spiritual, I would say. They speak about very deep subjects about the spirit and God and universe and all of those aspects of what is and what's not.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I find that I'm a bit the same with podcasts. I don't have a favorite, but if the title of something catches my attention, or if I'm looking for a specific sort of self-help topic, then I'll probably listen to that episode. But yeah, I love to jump around between different
Me too.
podcasts depending on what I feel.
Yeah, me too.
So do you have a role model or anyone in your life that you look up to?
I don't really have a role model. I never was that kind of person who looks up to someone in that way. So today I'm on a place where I would say that my role model is the future me. So I like to see it like this, and this is something that I do with my clients. I like to create this kind of end vision, end scene, or a end goal for people. And that means that you have to know who you truly are and what you truly, truly want in life in order to really live purposefully, to know what you want and what's your calling, if you like. So my role model is the greatest version of myself that I can vision.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really lovely way to put it. And I've never actually heard someone have that outlook on role models. They normally might say someone famous, or they might say, someone in their life. But I think that's a really great perspective to have. And you're always like wanting to attain the best version of yourself and looking forward to that as what you aspire to be like.
Yeah, so I always aspire to be the best version of myself. And I do believe that if you focus on anything else than that, then you're not aligned with who you truly are. Because everything else comes, if you're seeking validation in some way, then you're not in tune with who you really are. Then you are acting and behaving from a programming that you have been taught from growing up, that you need others' validation, and that has so much power and influence over you, so you cannot be safe in yourself. So I think that's really, really important.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I actually find that so interesting and a different way of thinking about this idea of a role model, that it doesn't have to come externally, but it's something that you can find within yourself as well. So that's really interesting. Great. Well, I've got one last question for you, and that is there a course that you've completed that's been inspirational towards, your career or what you're doing in life?
Course. Yeah, I have been taking a lot of courses, but I don't know if I would say that any of them have inspired me in that sense. But I can tell you this. I am creating my own course as we speak. And this course, I would have had this course 10 years ago. So I'm not saying that my own course now is inspiring me, but I hope it will inspire others. Because I have been taking a lot of courses that oftentimes a course has one part, but it's missing another part.
Yeah.
So perhaps I have missed all the great courses. I don't know. But that's my experience from the courses that I have taken.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing those with us. I think we'll jump right into our interview questions now for today. So, my first question for you is, why do you think resilience is important in our lives?
I think resilience is something that you're born with, but it's also something that you can develop. So, because resilience, people can experience so much trauma and horrible events and still persist and still create great lives. Um, so that's just proof of that, I would say. But resilience is also something that you can develop by practice. Yes,
Yeah,
that
and do you think like resilience is something that we're born with, or is it something that we grow with over time?
both. I believe it's both.
Yeah, and I think often when we think of resilience, we think of it as something of, someone being immune to stresses and adversity. Do you think that's what resilience captures, or is it more than just that?
No, I think it's more. Um, Resilience, yeah, sure. I believe if you're resilient, you can handle stress and all kinds of situations. Perhaps better. I don't want to say better, really. Um,
Mm.
but resilience is something that shapes you because I think it's so natural to us to have that resilience against all kinds of things happening in life. And it's how to put it. We have to adapt to the environment that we're in, right?
Yeah.
Because in that way we are not different than any other animal, or that's just natural, and we're born with all kinds of abilities, and resilience is definitely one of those. But when it comes to like work, career, or whatever you're trying to achieve something within, then it's something that you can practice. You can get more resilient, but you have to get exposed to certain things within the area that you want to become resilient in the area that you want to grow in.
Yeah.
And I believe that it has everything to do with stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Mm.
Because any form of growth means facing fears and stepping outside of your comfort zone. Because there can't be any growth if you're inside your comfort zone, right? And this is also something that I teach with my clients about the paradigm and the subconscious mind, because you have this aware mind and you have the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is where all the programming from childhood and all the imprinting about norms and your self-worth and all kinds of taught behaviors from your parents and society and the school system, that shapes you in a way and creates this paradigm with all of your belief systems around things, how things should be, how you should be, and the values, like I said. So resilience is being built upon that based on your past experiences. And when it comes to career, life, and whatever thing you want to achieve, that's something that you can develop further. But you have to be aware of the paradigm that you have right now. And the paradigm and your belief system is something that you can change. And there's very effective tools and techniques to actually do that, because the subconscious mind is your autopilot. I don't know if you have experienced this before, but as an example, when I was driving to my past work, I would sometimes find myself, I was getting into the car, I would start driving, and all of a sudden I was at work. So my subconscious mind have gotten me to the workplace, but I have been thinking about something completely different. And I was unaware that I was even driving. So I don't know if you have any experiences like this, but this is a good example of how the subconscious mind works on autopilot. We actually do so many things in our everyday life on autopilot without thinking about it.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Sometimes I'll be driving and then I'll be thinking and then I'll come back into the moment and I'll realize, oh my goodness, how have I just been driving when I feel like I haven't actually been driving? And it's such an interesting experience because you're there and you're doing it, but you're not actually like presently controlling that. You're somewhere else entirely. Yeah.
So that's the power of the subconscious mind, which actually about 95% of our awake time, we run on autopilot. So we have systems within our mind that creates habits and we just do it. We don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
So that's also practice to become aware and practicing awareness, because oftentimes if you want to grow, if you want to become more resilient, you have to consciously take decisions based on what you want to achieve, not based on what you are right now.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. And I feel like resilience often equips you to deal with future events. And one of the pitfalls of resilience is that you have to go through a hardship or a challenge or something difficult in order to, further, build that resilience. But I feel like it's worth it in the end as well.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and just reflecting on the past year, what aspects of your career brought you the most frustration? And were there any valuable lessons that you learnt from, those difficult times or, those challenges?
Yes, it's been a few challenges for me in my business. I have been working with a few different coaches and been applying a few different strategies in my own business. And I have overwhelmed myself this year, actually. I've been doing this and I've been doing that. And I've been a bit like all over the place because this coach is telling me this coach is telling me this. And so I've been a bit overwhelmed, but that's been a valuable lesson for me to really simplify when it comes to business. And that's also something that I would say is so valuable, and the lesson of the simplicity in things, because we are being taught inside of most paradigms, we're being taught that things have to be so difficult and so hard. That success doesn't come easily. And I'm not saying that you can be successful and not be working and not putting in the effort and the energy, but things can be much more ease and flow. that we are being taught. So that's my biggest lesson this year. And also being vulnerable. Showing vulnerability in business and in career, that's actually a show of strength, I would say. Because
Yeah,
that's a big,
definitely.
it's a big part of, because leadership, it doesn't matter what kind of role you're having, if you're an CEO or an executive, or it doesn't matter your title or your role. In order to be a great leader, you have to show vulnerability. You have to lead by example. And that always starts with self-leadership. So any kind of leadership, I would say, is all about self-leadership.
Yeah, and I feel like those things that you've mentioned, like vulnerability, feeling overwhelmed, and, leadership, I feel like there are a lot of things that people can relate to over this past year. I don't know if this applies to everyone, but me, myself, I've felt overwhelmed, and I feel like that's a common theme in a lot of people's lives recently, just feeling like there's so much going on and the world just keeps getting busier and busier. But yeah, it's also a good time to value things like simplicity and slowing down and, living for the little things in life as opposed to always being on the grind, as people say, or constantly having to work towards something all the time, that you lose a sense of yourself and where you actually want to be and the type of person you want to be as well.
Exactly. Yes, it's very important. And that's a practice
Yeah.
of awareness, I would say.
For
Staying
sure.
present. Yeah.
Yeah, and how have you, found that the holiday season like prompts you to reflect on, the past, present, and future? Is that something that, comes about for you during this time of the year?
More and more. In the past, I was kind of in the same state of mind, or I am. I'm still in the same state of mind. I'm very stable today, I would say. But no, in the past, I've been a person that I'm just doing the things I'm supposed to do. So I'm always in that like rabbit wheel. I'm just going and going
Yeah.
and going. And like I said before, the holidays have not played a very big or significant role in my life before. I've actually almost not cared so much before because of my past. But now I really see it as a big opportunity to grow and to set new goals, like a
Yeah.
end start point. Um, so I reflect more than once a year, I would say. but but it's a great time to really see uh, your achievements, all your small achievements, and all of your big achievements, and to
Yeah.
really reset and go for it, like level up. That's how I see it. For each passing
Yeah.
year, I want to reach my new, bigger goals, and that's a bit newer to me. Um, so it's really a great time to reflect, really.
Yeah, I like to think of this year as not this year, this time of year as a period of time where things slow down a bit and you're allowed to take a bit of a break and you're allowed to sit back a bit and just look at the year that's passed. I know people feel like very busy, Christmas is coming up, there's so much to do. But I also feel like it's such a wholesome time of the year just to, it's okay to take some time to yourself and to, reflect back on what you've done and what you want to do for the year ahead. But it's also a very scary time. I feel like there can be a lot of pressure on people. And career wise, do you have any tips for someone looking to make a career change in the upcoming year and, how they can use this period of time to transition?
I would say that everything, if you're in a place where you're about to change career or do a bigger change in life, to really reflect upon what it is you want in life, to not be so focused upon titles or the career in itself. Perhaps this sounds very strange to a lot of people, but from my own experience, And from what I know and from what I have lived, you have to know who you want to be. And by that, I mean, you have to know what you really, really want in life. Because it doesn't matter if you're getting this fancy job, that will probably not make you happy if it doesn't align with who you truly are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does.
Yeah, so I would say reflect upon what you really, really want and who you truly are. Because when we do that and when we get clarity, most people aren't clear with themselves. So we need clarity in order to make decisions based upon what the goal, based upon where you want to be in life. So that
Yeah.
would be my tip for anyone doing a major transition in life. Just to reflect on who you are and what you want. And is your career in alignment with that?
Yeah. And how do you think individuals can set career-related resolutions that are both realistic and, fulfilling in terms of who they are and what they want in life?
Yeah, I love the word realistic because that's also, what's the word? That's relative. What's realistic for someone is relative. It's based upon your own belief system around what you believe is possible, for example. So perhaps you're a person who lacks self-worth. So then it might not be realistic for you to earn $1 million next year. So in order to set realistic goals, I would say go within and check your belief system around what you believe you're worthy of, and work on that. I would say set big goals. I would say dream big. This is what I say to my clients. So you have to dream big. What's the greatest goal that you can imagine for yourself? If you let go of all of that heavy belief system that you carry around about what's possible and what's not possible.
Yeah.
Because we're so fixed in the mindset when it comes to possibilities. I believe you can create anything you like. So what's realistic, I drop that word. I would say drop the word realistic and set big goals. Have a vision. Yeah.
That's really interesting because I feel like often when we think of, for example, New Year's resolutions, we're like, okay, we have to set realistic goals because everyone knows that barely anyone, follows through with their New Year's resolutions. So I feel like that word realistic, now that you've pointed it out, really can set us back sometimes because sometimes our dreams and our goals might not be realistic. So we strip them back and we, simplify them. And as a result, we simplify ourselves and really box ourselves into this one thing that we can do. And often we can do more than that. So I feel like it's not enough motivation for us as well.
Yeah. So step out of that box. What's realistic? You have to realize that you are not your beliefs. Okay, so you can change your beliefs.
Yeah.
If you have a belief about something that's blocking you from going for bigger goals, then you need to find the cause of that. Because there's a reason you have the results that you have in life. And by results, I mean like everything that you experience in your outer physical world, that's a reflection of what you believe about what's possible for you. Because we won't take action based upon what's actually possible, because our possibilities are endless. By universal laws, you have endless potential. So if you have limitations and if you feel like something's scares you and you are held back, and that's something within your belief system that you can change.
Yeah. And we're talking a lot about, looking inward, and this makes me think of self-care and mindfulness. So how important are things like mindfulness and self-care when we're navigating career frustrations and trying to find our deeper purpose?
Very important. I would say that's the foundation of, and it's really, that's the foundation of life, to practice mindfulness. And to practice mindfulness really means, to me, to stay aware and to stay present and to stay connected and aligned with your own values, who you truly are within, and not based upon that programming from society's, the norms of society, and from the old programs from your parents that just from generation to generation would just pass on all of these beliefs and way of being and thinking. But we have to stop and become aware of what is and what isn't, and what's, because let's face it, we talked about relativity, and most things that we are thinking and believing are relative. It's not like your thinking and your belief system is the ultimate truth about something. Like gravity, that's an ultimate truth. Nothing will stop that. That's consistent. That's the way it is. You can't change it. But you can change how you view yourself, what you believe is possible for you. And when you can do that, a whole new world will actually open up to you.
Yeah. So would you be able to share some, practical self-care routines or practices that we can incorporate into our daily lives to help, balance this during challenging times in our careers?
I would say, and I'm going to give you tips on practices that I practice, so I'm not going to throw you tips just like that. And that's meditation. It's practice and focus. And all of these pieces that I'm going to share, you can actually put them all together as a morning routine. Having a morning routine, a mindfulness morning routine, can actually make all the difference to you and how you set up your mind and your state of being for the rest of the day. And then, of course, it can help to have like breathing exercises and awareness exercises during the day as well. But meditation, journaling, and breath work, I would say. And the meditation is to stay present and to practice focus, because the human mind we're so stressful in today's society that what's the word? That a human being can only stay focused for about 3 seconds. That's a very short span of time scroll. So practicing focus is really, meditation is a real good practice in doing that. Journaling and writing down gratitude, something that you're grateful for, and something or someone to forgive. And your thoughts, perhaps it's something that bothers you when you wake up from yesterday, or whatever thoughts you're having when you're doing this. So you want to do this practice because it will bring more clarity. People think that, oh, well, I can just think about it and I know what I think, and I know where it comes from. But most people actually don't. We tell ourselves that we have clarity, but most people actually don't. And writing it down will give you a different perspective. It will bring you more clarity. So meditation, journaling, and breath work. And actually, it doesn't have to be complicated. You can Google breath work and just find a practice that suits you, because that's individual. But breath work, take deep, 10 deep breaths. You can just try that. You who is listening, just sit comfortable and just close your eyes and take 10 deep breaths. And on the exhale, you just think the word release. And do that practice, and you will feel completely different. That's actually the most powerful way of, in a natural way, and in an instant way, to lower your stress levels and to kick the, what's the word? Oxytocin, is it in Swedish?
Yeah.
In the brain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my practice. Practice mindfulness, and if you can, do it in the morning when your
Yeah.
subconscious mind is more receptive.
Definitely. And I think that the fact that you mentioned gratitude is really important as well. You know, when we come towards the holiday season and we're, focusing on a lot of different things, it's nice to just sit down and write down things we're grateful for. Or it can even be, I guess, would you say, even things we're grateful for in our careers, like our successes, and just taking that time to acknowledge the good work that we've done amidst all the challenges that might be there, just taking time to appreciate what we've done in our careers and what we've done for ourselves as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, gratitude is a major one. Practicing gratitude, it sets a different vibration in your body. Gratitude and love are very powerful vibrations, and also very simple, because every single one of us have so much to be grateful for. And like you said, it can be all kinds of things. It can be your achievements in your workspace, or as a family member, or a parent, or a friend, or something you are doing for yourself. Just being alive, I would say. We always have something to be grateful for. So becoming aware of that, yeah.
And on the mentions of like love and like family and friends, I think that the holiday season, as we mentioned before, like it's often about spending time with, the people that we love. So how can we, surround ourselves with these individuals to help build a support system if we're going through a period of career frustration or challenges?
I would say yes, we're meant to be living in tribes. So humans are meant for, we're like packs. We need different, we need each other. We need our tribe of people around us. But I would say you need to find yourself. That's the biggest security that you can have. And I have really learned this the hard way. And also coming from that, I didn't have this tribe growing up. So I became very resilient and like strong, and I built up this wall. And that wall, many people see that wall as a strength, but I realized it's actually not. That wall is actually something that is very, very hard to take down brick by brick. To be able to be vulnerable, to be able to really heal all that trauma, because I believe most people also have trauma. Trauma doesn't mean that you have been beaten as a child, or have experienced some major crisis, or physical trauma, or mental trauma. It can simply be, as it was for me, combined with a lot of different things growing up. But for me, a lot of it came from emotional trauma. Me not knowing my worth. I was seeking validation. I didn't feel secure as a child. I didn't feel loved. And that caused me to have all kinds of behaviors that actually a lot of people view as strength and something to be viewed as good qualities, like being that strong kind of person, always being in control, always needing things to be perfect, being that perfectionist, nothing is ever good enough. Also, that seeking validation, people pleasing, all of that comes from trauma. really. So we need to get back into our natural state of being, which really is being, and a being in a state of love. That's what we're here to do, and that's really what I believe that is part of everyone's calling. You need to find yourself, you need to heal yourself and come back to yourself. Yes, we need other people, but no one else can make you feel secure in a way that you can.
Yeah,
So creating a
definitely.
system and a support system that will allow you to be you, fully you. And by doing that, you will also attract your tribe, your true tribe, because I believe that most people, or a lot of people, are in the wrong tribe because they're trying to be something or someone they are not. So, yeah, like I said before, your inner world will reflect on in your outside world. And if you're not aligned within, then your outer world will not be aligned with who you are. So it always comes down to that, getting that clarity and living from within, and creating a system that supports you in becoming you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it definitely does. And I think that's a really beautiful way to put things as well. Reflect inwards before outwards, I guess. So that was really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us, Nina.
Well, thank you.
That's okay. I'd love to get into our practices and habits section now. So we're just going to delve a bit more into some practices that you personally do or recommend. So is there a practice that you recommend to cultivate personal growth?
Yes. And combined with that mindfulness morning routine that I have and that I help my clients with as well, I would say that you need to work on some skill. Always, in order to grow, you always need to be in a way outside of your comfort zone. So it might be reading a book, a self-development book, or it might be learning a new language, whatever it means to you, but working on a skill in some way.
Yeah. And how do you find time, or do you set a specific time during your day to be like, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to work on this skill? Or is it more when it just comes to you?
No, don't ever leave things like this to coincidence or when I have time, because we make time for things that are important to us. We can make up all kinds of excuses not to start a new project, not to start reading that book, or not to start going reading that course or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But coming back to that end goal and actually be motivated, that's going to be your motivation when you don't feel like it, is that end goal and the discipline that you can create around the habits that you need in order to support you to reach your goal. So you have to, if it's important to you, then you will do it. And you have to carve out the time. So I would definitely say yes, even if it means that you put on your timer for 10 minutes to read your book or to focus on the task that you, the skill that you're working on. But do it, and do it every day. That's very, very important, because you have to do something over and over and over and over again in order for it to become a habit and to become a part of you. So I believe that's the thing that holds people back from reaching their goals, because a lot of people that I work with, they have all the knowledge, really. They know what they need to do. They know what they should do, but they are not doing it.
Yeah. And I guess that's the challenge as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And because a lot of people are they want to reach the goal. And of course, that's the goal, right? You want to go there. You want to achieve that. but life is happening right now. So we are behaving based on past experiences. So we focus on the past and we set goals so we know where we want to go. And the focus is so behind and far ahead. So oftentimes we don't live. So you have to learn to appreciate the journey. Life is happening right now. So it's great to have to learn from your past, to know who you want to be and what you want to achieve. But you have to learn to enjoy the present moment because life is happening right now. So that's that's a major one, I would say. Yeah, it's great. You have to have goals because if you don't have goals, then you're standing still. So
Yeah.
that's a balance. And you can
Yeah,
definitely
definitely.
implement practices to support you in both staying present and focused and knowing where you're going, but not be so goal focused that you miss out the present moment and what's
Yeah.
actually going on right now.
Yeah, and I think that that also contributes to our resilience and building more resilience as well, because through implementing these different practices and making time to create healthy habits, you're also developing, your ability to be more resilient in times where you feel like you might be stuck or times where you feel like you're not as productive as you could be. You can do these little things. And I guess in turn, it's a part of finding yourself and finding who you are.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you for sharing those little tips and tricks with us. And they're so simple, but it is hard at the end of the day to apply them because discipline is such a huge challenge and it's a hurdle for everyone because we can say we're going to do all these little things, but then, we get busy, it's hard to stick to the things we want to do. But this could be someone's New Year's resolution, or it could be just a perfect goal for the holiday season as well.
Yes. And yes, like you said, it's difficult changing habits, but there are ways of changing because it comes down to your belief system.
Yeah.
What is making it so hard for you to implement new strategies and new habits is your old programming. And a good example of that is if you have a bit of extra kilos, if you're having a bit of overweight and you want to lose weight. So you're so focused on losing that weight because you have a picture in your head about what's healthy and what's not healthy based on your programming and what you're being taught. So you have this superficial image about what is healthy and what is not, and that's your self-image. You have created a self-image where you identify as not being that.
Yeah.
So you buy this program and you work out for 2 weeks and you don't see any results, and you fall back and think that it's not for me. So I'm just an unhealthy person. That's a belief system. That's a paradigm that you can change, but we have to change it from the root cause, because we are when we're buying into a program and workout, we are trying to mend the result. You're trying to
Yeah.
change the result, but the root cause is still there. So you have to change your self-image before you can really, in a long-term kind of way, become healthy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, it definitely does. And I feel like that's a great comparison and something that a lot of people can relate to as well. So thank you for sharing that with us. I think it now brings us to our last section for today, which is our open mic. So here you just have a chance to talk about anything that you're passionate about. It could be about what we've been chatting about today. It could be about the holiday season. It could be about anything that you'd like.
Oh my. Well, I love to talk about going into self-love and gratitude a bit
Yeah.
more, because that's so important. And I believe that comes kind of natural around the holidays. And that's something that I've been feeling into more and more since having my kids, to really appreciate what you actually have in life right now, um, and really tune into, because I think when you feel love in that kind of natural way, it's cozy and it's Christmas and you're
Yeah.
having a lovely time with your loved ones, and really feel into, because that's actually your natural state. When we feel gratitude and love in that way, that's you. Then you're tuned into who you truly are. So that's
Yeah.
why I would say it's a perfect time to really go a bit deeper within and reflect upon what you really want in life. Because in a
Yeah.
state of that being, when you're relaxed, um, your intuition will speak to you more clearly. So I would also say, yeah, that's the perfect time to reflect when you're in a state of love and gratitude, which is what this holiday is all about, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I can so relate to that. I feel like during this time of the year, you feel a lot closer to your family and your friends. You feel a lot safer and cozier. And it's a really great time to just easily slip into, feeling those things and just, embracing all that love and all the gratitude and all, those warm, fuzzy feelings. And it's just the perfect time to do it because it's not forced. It's something that's there all around us. So we can just tap into that.
Yes, exactly. And when we do that on a more like aware level and reflect, you can reflect upon all areas of life in that state. And I believe you will have so much more clarity, and also the perfect time to set new goals, right? And to
Yeah.
think big.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like that can be everyone's little mantra heading into the new year. Just focus on clarity, enter the new year with, a heightened sense of, what you want, who you want to be. I feel like when we think about New Year's resolutions, sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to make them these big, massive things that we have to do. On the 1st of January, we're going to be this brand new person. But I guess it can be as simple as gaining a better sense of how you want to move into the new year, how you're going to transition into that. And, using some of the things we talked about today, like you mentioned, gratitude, journaling, meditation, taking some more time to be more present, all simple things, but I feel like it takes time and practice and healthy habits to do so.
Yes, definitely. And like you said, it doesn't take so much of you to change your experience of life
Yeah.
and to change your path in life. It actually can be as simple as starting with that morning routine, because that's also programming. We have this belief that things are hard, like I said before. We believe that things are so hard. And I want to say that it's only as hard as you believe it to be. So why not believe that things can be made easy? Why not believe that you can live a life in flow?
Yeah.
That's a great belief, right? So don't believe that things are hard. It doesn't matter your past experiences or how you view yourself right now. You can all change all of it. That's completely
Yeah.
possible.
Exactly. And this holiday season, we're going into it with a new mindset. And now, hopefully, after listening to this, with some new strategies to do that as well. So, thank you so much, Nina, for joining us today and sharing your wisdom and sharing some little tips and tricks for the holiday season. I feel like having these little, ways of supporting ourselves is really important as well.
Yes, it definitely is. And thank you so much, Joanna, for having me.
Of
It was my
course, it was
pleasure.
my pleasure. No, it was my pleasure as well. I really enjoyed talking to you, and you
Thank
brought
you.
some beautiful insights. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Well, for those of us watching who want to find out a bit more about you, where can we go?
You can go to my website, would be the easiest way. So ninaolofsson.com.
Perfect. Well, to anyone who missed that, we've also got that in the description below. But thanks so much for tuning in. Merry Christmas, and I hope you guys have a lovely holiday season, and we'll see you guys soon. You have been listening to Bouncing Back, the Personal Resilience Science Insights podcast produced by the Life Management Science Labs. Listen to episodes from LMSL's 10 Life Management Perspectives on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or other podcasting apps on your smartphone. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider rating our show, sharing it, and subscribing to our channel, as it helps other people find it and us grow to bring you more quality resources. More of our work can be found on our website, pr.lmsl.net, where you can join our movement. I'm Joanna. Thanks for tuning in.